Hilux Performance upgrades, are they worth it? Do you notice the extra performance? I'm going to give you my long-term review and my thoughts on the performance upgrades that I've made to our Hilux. Hello and welcome. So what are my thoughts? You know, I've had the Uni Chip now for over 3 years and we regularly tow with a camper trailer. You see, by the time I added a bull bar, side step, steel wheels, roof rack, auxiliary battery, bigger fuel tank, all the gear in the back of the tray, not to mention the kids and the wife, you know, with all this extra weight, it just became real sluggish and it wasn't enjoyable to drive anymore. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, hit us up below in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer any questions. And if you do find this video informative, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. So where do we start? I started looking at different ways to increase performance and eventually settled on Uni Chip with an exhaust upgrade. You know, the fact that the car required it to be tuned as opposed to one fits all approach appealed to me more, and I felt like I was going to get the best out of the car. So what I liked about the Unichip was it was a plug and play, it was a plug and play piggyback to the CPU. So at the time, if something went wrong, because the car was still under warranty, it could easily be removed, you know, and you probably wouldn't be none the wiser of what's happened. So looking at Unichip's website, you know, I saw all the power increases, and not to mention, you know, I watched other reviews with people on dynographs and, you know, seeing all the expected gains. I thought, you know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to feel great when I get it. I'm not really sure then what I was going to expect in terms of really chipping it, but I guess my expectations were quite high. You know, after it was installed, to be honest, I was a little bit underwhelmed by the whole experience. You know, the car did have a lot more up and go, but I guess it just felt like, cost versus performance, it wasn't there, you know, it didn't meet my expectation. I started questioning, was it really worth it? You know, on paper the gains looked massive and impressive, but it just didn't translate overall to, I guess, what I was expecting. Don't get me wrong, it has made an improvement, but I guess I was just hoping for more. At the end of the day, like, it's a 2.8 litre turbo diesel engine producing 130 kilowatts and 420 newton meters from factory. Now, if I wanted more power and torque, I guess the really only option I have is to purchase a vehicle with a bigger engine and more power. But I guess I was looking for this fairy tale, you know, something with a magical solution to give me more power at a lower cost. But, you know, it's just not possible, and I guess I really was kidding myself when I think about it. The real issue is it's a 2.8 litre 4-cylinder engine, you know, it just can't seem to hold the power right through the rev range compared to, say, a V8. What I'll do is I'll put some graphs up, and you'll see from here, you can see here right now, it reaches the peak kilowatts in torque, and that's the number we get to see. Now, it looks really impressive on paper, but then you'll start to see it just drops off the rev range fairly quickly. Look, it just can't sustain the power and torque. You know, at one stage I did look at putting a bigger intercooler and a bigger turbo, but I guess, is it really for a Hilux? You know, am I going to get my money back? And I guess by the time you add all those accessories, you're already not going to get your money back, and it makes you become really attached to the car, and you start looking at different ways to, I guess, justify the purchase that you made. Another thing I did was I fitted a 3-inch exhaust from X-Force. You know, I thought it might allow the car to breathe easier and, I guess, reduce exhaust temps when towing. But what I really wanted was a bit more sound. You know what? At least if it sounds loud, it's going to go quicker, right? But you know what? I could hardly tell any difference in sound. And to be honest, there was only a slight difference in the note of the vehicle, and that's when you start it and turn it off. The car exhaust, it's just so quiet. I'm not exactly sure why, or whether that's something to do with the DPF or the noise insulation in the cabin, but it's still so quiet. One thing to note, if you're going to, I guess, put a Unichip on your Hilux and you have a manual gearbox, you're going to need to upgrade the clutch. The first time the Unichip was installed with a factory clutch, the clutch started slipping, so we needed to upgrade it, and we went with an Outback Armor to handle all that extra power and torque. Currently, right now, I've got an XCD clutch in here, but there's one thing you're going to notice, which I wasn't expected. You know, once you're driving, you'll notice a bit more gearbox noise in the cabin, along as with that, I guess, slightly stiffer clutch, which is to be compared. The XCD clutch that's in there now has just made it feel more in line with factory. At the same time, it's able to handle all that power increase. So with the Unichip, you're able to select different maps by either pressing the Eco or the Power button. When you push the Eco button, it goes into a tow mode, or I think it's Profile 3, and then with the Power mode, it goes into the maximum power mode. I found the issue with this is that it also adjusts the throttle control response. I just never liked the way it felt. You know, in Eco mode, the throttle response was just so delayed, I guess, which is to be expected. And then in Power mode, even though we had more power, the throttle was just too sensitive. It's like you're jerking every time you touch the pedal. I guess after driving around for a few months, I decided to purchase the optional map selector and reorder the map profile, so then I could select which profile I wanted without adjusting the throttle response. I guess this select map option selector, or whatever it's called, allows you to select 5 different map settings, but I normally switch between towing mode and maximum power, and to be honest, it's normally left in towing mode, even when I'm in about town or around about town. Look, it did make the car more enjoyable to drive, but I guess I still felt I was lacking something. I guess the whole reason I'm doing this video now is to just let you guys know, like, long term, you know, what effects have I had on the vehicle, which I haven't had any issues, and to just let you know basically how I feel about the Unichip. But it wasn't until I was speaking to my brother-in-law, and he mentioned he purchased the EVC controller from iDrive, and he put it on his Ranger. Well, he's driving a Ranger for one, but that's another story. I was very skeptical regarding, I guess, these products or these types of throttle control products, because I know they don't produce any more power or torque, and I thought you could just basically put your foot flat to the floor and you get the same feeling. But it was after I started looking for other people's examples or their experiences, and, you know, started reading all the comments on forums and social platforms, everyone kept saying it was the best mod they've ever done. And then I started watching all other YouTube channels, you know, where other YouTube stars, where I feel like they sponsored, so I had a little bit of doubt. Just call me skeptical, but it wasn't until I stumbled on a video by Kenji Garage. Anyway, he put a Ranger on a car, or put a Ranger on a dyno, and actually you get to see the results. To my surprise, it actually made a difference. The power and torque curves were brought on quicker, with peak and power torques, I guess, remaining the same, but it just came on quicker. At this same time, you know, one of the auto retail shops had them on sale, so I thought, you know what, let's give this a go. Worst case, if it's terrible, I can return it. Once I installed it and took the car for a drive, I was shocked. It totally made the car feel so responsive and gave me the ability to, I guess, dial in the throttle response like I'd never had before. Coupled with the throttle control and the Unichip, the car is a totally different car. It's so much more enjoyable to drive, and I guess what I was really expecting when I first put on the Unichip. You know, it's a real pleasure to drive now, and I just can't believe I didn't do this earlier. Even when towing, it makes a difference. You know, it doesn't feel like the car is struggling anymore. It just picks up and goes, especially when the road is level or flat, and even when you're on the freeway. When towing up hills, you'll still notice the trailer's there, and it still struggles, but it has made a difference. The car is just so nice to drive. Did I say that already? Do I wish I had more power and grunt? You know, you bet I do. But for now, it's the best I can do with my budget and the size, well, my budget, and I guess the size of the engine. You know, the time I start adding more mods, you know, probably maybe stressing the engine too much for what it was designed for, and you know, then it probably may lead into reliability issues. And it just wasn't something I was prepared to do. So anyway, that's my long-term review on the performance upgrades that I've made to the Hilux. Hope this information has been helpful in deciding what you want to do with your Hilux. So if it has, I'd love you to give it a thumbs up, and while you're at it, hit the subscribe button so you get notified when we release another video. We're always checking out new sites and playing around with gear and equipment. If you have any questions or comments, hit us up below in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer the question. So thanks for watching and look forward to hearing from you. Until next time.